Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies, Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Taylor Dahl, what will you be doing at 7 p.m. tonight?
What will I be doing?
Yes.
I don't know, actually.
I hope, alongside all Jaguars fans, you will be locked into the hunt.
Oh, yes, that is
the next episode debuts tonight, the first episode of season 6. Mia, I know
I'm very excited about this one, actually.
We watched the trailer last night as a family. Don't worry. Don't worry. The 2-minute trailer, it is worth the hype, so go check it out. But I think the episode will be even better.
For sure. They do such a great job. We've said that before. We'll continue to say it because of the new access that they have is incredible. And I think the personalities that they have, too, in the front office, they want this to be something that Jaguars fans can sink their teeth into.
Well, to tie a couple of things together, because, of course, a shout out to John Shipley, who just joined Tony Smith on Jaguars Today, and he was on with Greg Rosenthal on the NFL Daily podcast today as well. Our friend Jordan Rodriguez is on NFL Daily twice a week. And you know, and certainly us getting to know Jordan over the last few months, and, of course, the Jaguars, if only in jest, building Rams East. You know, she really conveyed to me off camera and on camera that, like, this group gets it. Like, they understand that it's okay to let some walls down, and because they're going to preach being your authentic self at the podium to the players behind closed doors, it would be inauthentic to therefore not allow some sort of access. And certainly the Rams have been at the forefront of being transparent under Les Snead and Sean McVay, and certainly it appears that is the route the Jaguars are taking.
They just weren't transparent before the draft and telling us who they were going to
do. That's the cool thing.
That's how it should have been.
It's gamesmanship. And that's where they're not going to tell you that, but they have no issue saying, yeah, we want our rookies to get to play early. I'm not going to go sign a bunch of free agents just because, we need to, like, ease them in.
Right. We want competition.
Yeah, and I think that there's a balance of that you have to figure out as general manager, as head coach, that balance of what the fans and what the media deserve to get, because we don't deserve every piece of information. They should not have told us that they were going to trade up for Travis Hunter early in that day. You know, like, that's just not something that's going to realistically happen. And there's certain things that you still have to keep to yourselves, because you also you're building a pretty much new team, and I know some returning pieces, but a lot of these guys are new, and there's all new coaches, and there's a new Tony Baselli in a new role, and a new general manager, and a new head coach, and so there's a lot of newness. So you do have to hold some of your cards to your chest and not show everything, but it is nice to have a little bit more and feel like you're getting actual answers, and not that basic coach speak that we got for so long of just, you felt like it was all rehearsed of, okay, this is what you need to say when they ask this, or just don't answer the question at all and ignore it. And so it is nice to have that, because, and I do think part of that may be the youngness in it too. The younger generations are more open into saying anything, like, they're just more open into talking about mental health. They're more open into sharing stories about their childhood and their life and what's going on. And I think because we grew up in a world of a little bit more access than maybe older generations, that it comes a little bit more naturally than somebody who didn't have to deal with that growing up.
If you guys really want to trip down memory lane, last night, this is why YouTube and Google are just amazing, amazing tools. In the suggested for you, Sounds of the Game 2017 season popped up as a suggestion. And so Kevin says, you ready for a history lesson? And this is with all due respect to Doug Marrone, who, look, I respect a friend, but at the same time, the coach speech was it was a 10 out of 10, you know?
It's on me. I have to do better.
Yeah.
And even in the locker room, right. And then we heard about George O'Leary and Georgia Tech for the 12th time. Point being, again, you're going to hear some coach speak. You're going to hear what certainly, if only the Coach Speak Index account on X has evaluated James Gladstone and how he speaks. You're going to say that, they're speaking in cliches. But at the very least, opening that door to allow the third wall to be broken, proverbially, I think that Jaguar fans do need to appreciate that. That's not lip service. That's just the reality of it. And it's something that we looked at the Rams, we looked at other organizations and said, why can't we have that here? And now you do.
there was multiple times last year where things were said, and I remember being like, you don't even have to come out and call anybody out or say this is the issues, but there's ways to address the media and ways to make fans at least calm down a little bit. And I felt like they had none of that. They didn't really know how to do that. And already we are seeing that out of Liam Coen when we hear even this press conference from this week when you're talking about the way that former regime was doing certain things. He wasn't like, yeah, they sucked and everything was wrong. But you could tell that there was some hesitation in how he felt they handled things last year.
They were fat and slow.
Yeah. And
That's what he said without saying it.
I appreciate that. You don't have to be an a-hole to be able to show some honesty, and that's how you earn respect from a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy to think. So Frank's been calling the game since 2014, the same year that 1010XL started Jaguars Today, right? Mm-hmm. So 2014, 2015, 2016. And then 2017, wow, we all thought 2018, the Jaguars were winning the Super Bowl. Obviously, that did not happen. Then 2019, then 2020, then 2021. We got Trevor. Okay, everything's solved. 2022, Doug Peterson plus Trevor. Literally, now this team really is on the path to win a Super Bowl. And then 2023, and then 2024. And so when people ask us about this new regime, of course, we're going to be cautiously optimistic because it seems
you've
like
been hurt before,
right?
Yeah.
But it seems like they are saying all the right things. Mm-hmm. They are taking all the right actions. They are overhauling the roster. But yes, we have been so accustomed to getting excited about something, whether it's the quarterback in Blake Bortles or if it's Trevor Lawrence, Leonard Fournette once upon a time, getting so excited, and then yes, having the walls fall down yet again, and the whole thing not going on the right train. Okay, so Women's College World Series about to get started. Speaking of the right train, Florida taking on Texas. First pitch will be in just a few minutes. The other games today, you have Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, and UCLA, Oregon. By the way, I'm going to a concert tonight that begins at 7:45. I have the block of 7 o'clock.
Oh, there you go.
Just marked off, just so I can stop what I'm doing to watch. But Mia, I have a very funny story for you, Taylor. You'll find it funny too. So just before the show, my cousin who lives in Denver texts me. Mm-hmm. She's going to Chicago to see a really good friend in a couple weeks. And the friend said, good news, I got you Indiana Fever, Chicago Sky box seats. My cousin's not following along with the storyline, so I was like, I have bad news for you. I don't think Caitlin Clark will be playing. And she was like, I didn't even know she's hurt. She was like, no wonder we got the box seats.
Yeah,
I've been shocked.
They were $20.
Right.
Yeah.
Like one of my mentors from growing up is on the Parks and Recreation Commission back home with my mom, and she texted me to congratulate me last night. And in doing so, I was, texting back and forth. And I said, oh, yeah, Kevin and I are locked in on the Caitlin-less fever against the Mystics. And she goes, what are you talking about? And this woman played college basketball, is like very locked in. And I was like, I thought with ESPN breaking in and sending push alerts on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was, like I thought most people knew at this point. But Taylor and I noted it yesterday after we got off the air.
Yeah.
The tweet, the post was out there of the Chicago Sky game in particular. Prices dropped 71% after Caitlin Clark was announced that she will be out for 2 weeks. And look, she still went to Baltimore last night. Right. She still signed autographs for like a half hour. She was trying to coach. They also gave her a camera pregame. She also made a half-court shot during warm-up. So, this is all very
They know they have to keep her there somehow.
Yeah, the presence
I honestly didn't know until Tuesday that she was hurt. I really did not. And I was
got
scrolling.
that push notification that Mia's talking about through ESPN.
I did not. And I honestly thought it was a joke at first. It was one of the things where I thought it was a fake Twitter. And so, I went to that Twitter to make sure it was a real Twitter. And this was Tuesday when I got in. And I was like, oh, Caitlin got hurt.
She actually is hurt. Yeah. No, I mean,
maybe she'll be okay by the time that game happens.
It is going to be interesting.
But I did tell her it's going to be chippy either way, whether Caitlin's playing
for
or
sure.
not.
It'll be chippy, especially after the dud that the Fever laid last night in Baltimore against the Mystics. But it'll be interesting because of the quad strain that Caitlin has. She has been rocking, whether just walking around or in the pregame and then during the game, she's been rocking the sleeve, the leg sleeve. Mm-hmm. How do you ladies feel about the leg sleeve? Because obviously now it's kind of become it's become like you see it and you think of certain players, i.e. Angel Reese. Mm-hmm. And so
I think of Alex Smith when I think of the
that's another one. Yep, that's another player, the compression sock. I think of Doug Peterson, who was also wearing compression sock for part of last year. But point being, there's a chance the third meeting between those two rivals, when Caitlin does return, there's a chance that they both will have the compression sock on, which I'm here for. I'm here for the compression sock debate.
So the game she's going to is June 7th, which is a week from Saturday. So I don't
What was the
playing.
estimate time frame?
2 weeks with
2 weeks. 2 weeks minimum, they said, so 4 games.
Okay.
So
So, yeah, we shall see. All right, let's continue the Jaguars conversation. Eric Armstead today tweeted out, Brenton Strange will be a top 5 tight end this year.
Oh, wow.
Do you like him putting that out into the universe, Taylor?
I love it. Oh, sorry, Taylor.
No, you're good.
Oh no! I mean, I hype your people up.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. You better hope he backs it up, because if not, people are bookmarking that, I'm sure, a crazy amount right now. And I wonder how that came about. Like, I wonder if him and Strange were talking and he was like, oh, I'm going to post this, or if he just posted it and Brent was like, hold on, wait.
Because you like him.
Yeah. Hold on. Strange. Yeah, I like Strange. And I think that I don't love the tight end room as a whole, but I like him. And I think that, especially last year, I just feel like he had a lot of moments last year where you felt game by game he was getting better. And then late in the season, it became, and this was also with Mac Jones, who I am not a fan of, I was like, I felt like in moments was saving Mac Jones, and making him look a little bit better than what I feel like Mac Jones actually is. And that's the type of tight end you want. That's the good tight ends in the league. And I'm not saying he's a George Kittle or Travis Kelce. We're not obviously there yet. But the good tight ends in the league are ones that make the quarterback's job a little bit easier. And it felt like he was doing that, especially late in the season last year.
Let's go through and look. This is to say that I understand for certain matchups, maybe a tight end will be featured more versus another.
Sure. Yeah, they're going to scheme according to the opponent.
In the loss to Green Bay, a walk-off field goal loss, Brenton Strange, 5 targets, 5 catches. The next week at Philadelphia, notoriously, 0 targets, 0 catches. 3 targets, 2 catches the next week. 1 target, 1 catch. 2 targets, 1 catch. 1 target, 1 catch. Against the Jets, 12 targets, 11 catches. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's scheme or if that's just the decision-making, the opposite. I don't know what that is, but what I can tell you is that when you actually look at how many times he was targeted and how many times he caught the ball, pretty good ratio for Brenton Strange in his second year, so that's a positive. He also had the play of the day, in my estimation, and Rick Ballou's estimation at Tuesday's practice. Really nice sideline grab that he was able to get both toes in while Jarian Jones was draped all over him. And so I couple that with the progression of Cade Otton in Tampa Town under Liam Coen's tutelage, someone who went from just, 42 catches his rookie season, 47 catches, 59 catches, but jumps up to 600 total yards. And that was in really key situations on third and second down that Liam Coen would consistently go to Otton, who all of a sudden enters the mainstream stratosphere, not just fantasy football nuts. And I think that is what you need to look at when it comes to a blueprint of where Brenton Strange can go in 2025. Understanding, too, that, well, yes, to this point, he had in his career, I'm going to pull up the career numbers now.
We'd have to look at, obviously, Evan Ingram's numbers, too.
Correct.
He
That's
got
a big part of it,
because,
too.
Yeah, he was the go-to tight end.
So Brenton last year had 40 catches for 411 yards, which sounds a whole lot like what Cade Otton had in 2023 when Dave Canales was the OC in Tampa. He had 47 catches for 455 yards. Yeah. And so you look at the jump that he made, and you couple that with the idea of, yes, certainly there was a lion's share for Evan Ingram. Now that potentially goes to Strange. Do they include the other 2 veteran tight ends that they signed? 3 technically. Quentin Morris, I know, is much more of a blocking tight end. But yeah, I think that as we have that conversation about what Brenton Strange can do in year 3, I think we really do need to look at the Cade Otton blueprint. And that's not to say it's going to be identical to that, but that's the player who immediately comes to mind.
Yeah. The one thing that doesn't show up on stats, though, is the blocking, right? And that's what you talk about, the guy that certainly Eric Armstead's super familiar with in San Francisco, and George Kittle, who you mentioned, Taylor. Like, what he can do, and that's what Brenton Strange aspires to be, is the guy who could do both. Be a really good pass-catching tight end and also blocking tight end. You can't look at the box score and see how many times that Brenton Strange was able to create a hole for a running back or was able to create some space for the receiver, blocking, in one of those types of plays. And so that's where it's harder to evaluate, I think, that position specifically stats-wise. But if he's a top 5 tight end, then certainly we are even more singing the praises of what Liam Coen has dialed up.
Yeah, and I think another thing we have to look at when we're doing the comparison between the Bucs is what are the expectations between the other weapons here in Jacksonville?
Right.
Because obviously Chris Godwin got hurt, so they lost one of their biggest weapons. So of course you have to readjust that, and I think that's some of Cade's uptick.
Mike Evans
came. Yeah, Mike Evans missed time. Jalen McMillan missed time. So all of their wide receivers at some point during the season weren't on the field. So I do think that affected what Cade had to do because they didn't have many other options to go to. And outside of Cade, the other tight ends didn't really get much at all. And so I do think that it depends what Liam Coen sees in this offense. How much is Brian Thomas Jr. getting the ball? How much is Diami Brown getting the ball? How much is Travis Hunter getting the ball? And it will kind of factor into that. And I don't think that's a hit on him, Brenton Strange specifically. It's just sometimes if you have that many weapons, you're not going to see 87 catches with 600 yards. If it ends up being, you have to spread the ball a little bit out a little bit more.
And 422 on the text line echoed that same idea, Taylor, of with both Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr., are there going to be enough targets to go around? Again, I'm of the belief, and we're going to hear from Diami Brown on the other side, I'm of the belief that Diami Brown and Brenton Strange are going to eat in 2025 because defenses are going to be so focused on the Jaguars' number 1 and number 2 wide receivers.
And that's what I saw a comparison today on Twitter. I'll try and find the tweet, but they were saying they could see the trajectory of what Liam Coen did with McMillan last year, similar to Diami Brown, because later in the season, you started seeing, like, if you go through his targets early in the year, it was 2, 1, 1. He had like a couple in the middle, and that's right when Chris Godwin got hurt. So they were trying to figure some stuff out. But later in the season, it was consistently 7, 6, 5, 5, 6. And he was getting 60, 70 yards. He had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games. And so a lot of people are saying they could see that being kind of Liam Coen's Diami Brown being Liam Coen's Jalen McMillan this year.
We will keep the Jaguars conversation going. Hear from Liam Coen on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There are many ways to experience 1010XL.
The key to this whole thing is their computer.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Get me that computer program. Yes, sir.
At 1010XL.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise in the Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and this special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance through dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
Attention poker enthusiasts, get ready for unbeatable action at Best Bet with locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Dive into the excitement with $500 high hands every Friday and $1,000 high hands every Saturday. And save the dates for May's table game giveaways. $300 every 20 minutes on select Fridays and Saturdays. Want in on the action? Visit bestbetjacks.com for all the details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Listen all day as 1010XL gives you news, notes, and analysis of organized team activities as they get ready for the upcoming season. Our coverage of OTAs is hoisted by Heroes Lawn Care and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning and IHRS restored my hair. It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
I'm Max Fink. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
Your
home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today. 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
2 classic albums, 1 night of hits. Styx presents The Grand Illusion. Kevin Cronin Band presents REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity. June 2nd, Daly's Place. Brotherhood of Rock Tour. Plus Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 2 classic albums in their entirety. Styx, The Grand Illusion, REO Speedwagons, High Infidelity. Don't miss the event of the summer.
Hi folks, it's Frank Strange. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee & Kate's Glass. There's beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee & Kate's is local. They're family owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they probably fenced it too. From tough chain link to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coating. No massive overhead means top prices on top quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios too.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, breaking news.
Couple of game times as well as TV network assignments have been announced for the Florida Gators football season this fall. August 30th, the opener against LIU, a 7 p.m. kickoff. That game will be available on ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus. Still better than Baller TV. I digress.
Long Island, everybody. Long Island.
That's a story for another time. September 6th, South Florida, a 4:15 kick from the Swamp. SEC Network will be where you can tune into that game.
Ooh, that's going to be hot.
Yeah, yikes. September 13th at LSU in prime time, a 7:30 kick on ABC. So I'm assuming that will get the Fowler and Herb Street treatment. And then, of course, this one's no surprise to anyone. November 1st, the cocktail party against the University of Georgia here in Jacksonville, a 3:30 p.m. kick on ABC.
Yeah, it used to be CBS, and it was phenomenal. By the way, speaking of the Florida Gators, Keegan Rothrock got 2 strikeouts in the top of the first, and Florida's out of that half inning, and then now up to bat with a runner on first and 1 out. So we'll keep you posted when it comes to this first game of the Women's College World Series. All right, back to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the hometown team. Liam Coen was asked about De'Ami Brown and how he's looked so far through OTAs.
He's been great, man. He's made a lot of plays. He's been really productive throughout this whole camp so far. Showing versatility to do maybe some things that, he hadn't put on tape maybe in the past or wasn't asked to do from his skill set standpoint. I thought obviously he was very productive towards, the halfway point of last year into the playoffs. And then you see that confidence continuing to go throughout this camp and this offseason. So he's been doing a nice job of being able to run vertically, but also, being the nuanced route runner and some of the daggers and in cuts and things like that. I thought he's been very locked in this entire time. I've been really impressed with the pro that he is.
Yeah, he's going to certainly run some vertical routes, but I think he's going to be asked to do a lot more than just that.
Yeah, and they've been very impressed. And any chance that Liam Coen and Grant Udinski have had an opportunity to praise De'Ami Brown, they've been quick to do so. I know plenty here at the Superstation have been critical at times of that 1-year, $10 million deal, especially given that this is a player who did not flash until Washington's playoff run this past year. And the argument can be made, is that lightning in a bottle? Is that the ball bouncing the right way for the collective, let alone for the player? But ultimately, again, I go back to, in case you missed our opening segment, I go back to this argument of if you have Brian Thomas Jr. and you have Travis Hunter, well, yes, there is the argument that those two players are always open. They will find a way to win one-on-one and create opportunities for your offense. At the same time, defenses are going to have to account for those two first. And most defenses don't have the horses for course to then also account for the speed of Brown on the outside or Brenton Strange underneath.
Yeah, and I think that's what, when Liam Coen and James Gladstone got here, I think they realized is that, and we talked about it so much in the offseason of like, how many slot guys do you need and how many of one type of receiver can you actually use and kind of make your offense still functional. And I think they were very strategic about getting guys that could do different things but could also do multiple things. And I think that's important. And we saw that with Brown this last season when you go the run that kind of happened. Washington asked him to do a lot of different things and he was able to. So I'm not like crazy high on it. I think it's more of one of the ones that I'm interested in. I'm very interested to see how this goes, because if you get that flash of what you saw in the postseason, then you're getting a very, very good wide receiver. If you're getting the guy that you got in the regular season, then you're getting a guy. And so that is going to factor into me of how much he actually is an impact on this offense.
Florida left a runner on second, so no score so far in Florida, Texas. Yeah, I think De'Ami Brown is so interesting because you did already have these two speedsters, right? And I guess they signed De'Ami Brown before they drafted Travis Hunter, but you are talking about so much speed. If the offensive line can protect, I wonder how many times a game Trevor Lawrence is going to throw a ball that's 20 plus yards.
A lot.
If he gets,
but
3 to 4 seconds.
That's also what he does.
Go. Right.
It's also what he's good
Chuck
at.
it.
Right. Yes, correct.
Accurately.
And we haven't had a chance to see that because the previous regime was dedicated to a West Coast style offense. But at the same time, I do think, and if you go back and watch the tape of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, clearly Chris Godwin and Mike Evans can stretch the field. But at the same time, Liam Coen also wasn't shy about a short passing attack too. So I don't want this to be, well, the Jags' offensive line is going to hold up for 8 seconds and he's going to just be launching the ball 40 yards down the field. That's not realistic because in addition, Lauren, what we need to talk about, and this is another critique of the previous offense coordinator and how the offense was constructed, the reality was that they were asking that offensive line, who I understand, rightfully so, there have been critiques of the offensive line in 2024 and before that, but ultimately to ask an offensive line to drop back into pass sets and to have one protection, one plan, they drop back. That's just what we do. Not have any plan besides that. That, for me, is where I have questions, and that's where, again, the idea of predictability comes in, and on the surface level, that's talking about, okay, the defense knows that Press Taylor is going to run the ball. Check, I ran the ball, now I'm going to try to throw it twice. Or I'm going to throw the ball, and I'm going to run the ball. Beyond that, for your offensive line to have to drop back into a pass set 50 times a game, to only run the ball 10 to 15 times a game, that is wear and tear on those 5 individuals. And then you couple that with the predictability. And so that is where
I think they knew they couldn't run the ball because of the offensive line. I think we disagree on that. Yeah.
No,
I think they watched that offensive line and they said they aren't pushing anyone out of the way.
But that's not a solution, though. But that's not a solution.
So that's why I think they started to run the ball fewer times.
But I just think that's asinine, in my opinion, because I think ultimately, and again, that's where I want to bring this to. The idea of, oh my goodness, they're going to hold up for 4 or 5 seconds and Trevor's going to launch the ball downfield is great. But part of how you create that opportunity is by run the ball, short pass, run the ball, short pass. Then you launch it downfield. And so I do think, I don't want everyone to have this preconceived notion of, oh my God, they're going to be the greatest show on turf and just be launching it downfield because the offensive line is fixed. No, the short passing game is equally going to be important for Liam Cohen's offense.
Well, yeah, I think that's any normal offense is going to, like any good offense.
Outside of the one that was here last year.
Balance.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they weren't good. So, yeah, that's why. But I think it was a combination of a lot of things of why the run game didn't work last year. I think that obviously they were getting stuffed before they even they couldn't even get past the line of scrimmage at times because of that. I also think the running backs were also not able to find gaps in certain situations. I also think that the scheme in general, it was too predictable, and there were times when everyone knew you were going to run the ball, and then it got to the point where they're like, well, the run's not working, so we'll just abandon it as a whole. So I think there was a lot of problems with last year of why you couldn't run the ball, and I think that one of the things we've also seen Trevor struggle with are those intermediate passes, so I hope that Liam Coen focuses on that because that's something that has to get better or Trevor's never going to be a top 10 quarterback.
A good shout from our friend Dell, by the way, on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Trev won't be bouncing around as much looking for a receiver. He'll hitch to each of his reads. The deep pass will still be timing-based or play action. Don't forget, Cohen's screen game is elite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Texas, by the way, just had a home run. So
no.
It is 1-0. It's okay. It's early. It's just the top of the second. But yeah, my dream last night where the Gators scored first does not come to fruition so far today. All right, so talking about the receivers, who's competing for a roster spot?
Josh Cephas has done some good things over the course of the offseason program. I think Camper has shown up in a way as, he made a big play today, obviously, on the touchdown, a great tracking throw by Nick. And he's done a nice job. The whole group is, I don't want to say they're swimming, but at times they're going to be. There's so much of when these guys come in post-draft, especially later on in an install of a whole new system, right? So our vets and these guys have been in an offense for, let's call it, right, a month and a half. And now these guys get put into it right in the middle of an install. So it's really hard to judge some of that, but I think they've done a nice job of, trying to handle it in the heat with the elements, doing a lot of running. So we'll see about how these guys end up competing in training camp, though.
So to our point the other day, stop freaking out if Trevor Lawrence does throw an interception because they are putting him in different situations in order to test the parts of his game that have been subpar to this point in time.
I've got the Jaguars roster in front of me. In that wide receiver room, do you know how many wide receivers on the entire roster have caught passes in the National Football League? Any guesses? Off the top of the dome.
Will it be Parker, Diami, Brian Thomas Jr.?
Like three, maybe
I don't have
four.
a roster in front of me, so I'm trying to think who else.
Oh, no, because Diami, yeah.
Austin
BTJ,
Trammell.
Washington, Trammell.
Josh Cephas. 5.
Yeah,
that's okay.
5. And they have, I believe it's 11 wide receivers right now on the roster. And part of that is a byproduct of the offseason. You need to have extra wide receivers and DBs just for the sake of having, extra bodies for drills. I get that. But this is a very young room. And therefore, it's, again, to go back to what we talked about in the opening segment, it's going to create great competition. It's going to give young players an opportunity to get out onto the field early if they seize the moment and win that opportunity to play. But at the same time, I also think we have to have realistic expectations, therefore, of what the back half of that room is going to look like.
My favorite one of my favorite conversations in the offseason is who's wide receiver 6'7".
A guy who's going to be inactive on game day, yes.
I honestly didn't even remember that Josh Cephas caught passes last year. Like I think I've blocked out parts of last year, which I feel like people listening to our show this week are like, why?
Because Cephas was the man last year.
Yeah, but they're like, why are they spending so much time talking about last year when we're supposed to be focused on the future? Well, we have to figure out everything that went wrong in order to make it right.
So also, real quick, what did he said Cephas and then he said who?
Camper. Yeah, he's an undrafted free agent, 6 foot.
I was like, who
3,
was he talking about?
Out of Boise State, 197 pounds, has some return ability, bigger built guy. Okay. Can high point it pretty well too. Same with they've got a couple. They don't have any Elijah Cooks, who by the way is no longer with the Jaguars. Yeah. He was signed elsewhere, didn't get offered the futures contract, if you may. So they don't have any 6'5" guys, but they've got a couple 6'3" guys in that pool of undrafted free agent rookies who could potentially be that red zone, bigger bodied threat. Yeah. And Camper is one of them. I lied, though. Josh Cephas did appear in that game against the Tennessee Titans, but he did not record a catch. So
good.
4. So 4. Right. We've got 4 guys on the roster who have caught passes in the National Football League.
We got it right. All right, let's go around the league a little bit. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
Tebow straight ahead. Into the end zone, and the Gators have put this one on ice.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Summer Starts Here sales event is back, and it's packed with hot summer savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington Toyota? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, one location, and everyday low prices. Over 350 SUVs, over 175 trucks, over 275 cars, and my friends at Arlington tell me there's more on the way. Plus 60-day exchange. It's simple. You don't like your purchase, just come on back to Arlington within 60 days and exchange it for another one. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new Toyota purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because during Summer Starts Here, you could get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. 0% and no payments until January 2026. Shop the Summer Starts Here at Arlington Toyota. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydrojetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 29, 1990, MLB Oakland A's outfielder Ricky Henderson steals record 893rd base, breaking Ty Cobb's record.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has branched off from on-road to off-road. Give us the latest on what they've got.
They've got the 250 and the 450. Rick Carmichael designed these bikes himself, and they are bad to the bone.
So you're talking about a really cool effect from a bike off-road that Triumph had on-road forever.
It is, and it's out there winning races, and it is fun to ride.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville, their showroom on Atlantic near Regency, or online on their Facebook page.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden & Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
College World Series is underway. Currently, Texas leads Florida. Florida's up to bat in the bottom of the second with one out. Taylor Dahl, tell everybody where we will be tomorrow.
Yes, we are going to be at Kia on Atlantic. It's formerly known as Kia on Southside, but now they have a brand new building. It's moved down closer to Kernan if you're heading, obviously, east on Atlantic towards the beach. Right there on the left-hand side and right before you hit Kernan. Fantastic, though. I went and visited them the other day just to kind of see the new showroom and everything. Brand new building, but we have a lot of stuff going on during our show. So obviously from 12 to 2, ton of different giveaways. We're going to be giving away Jags tickets to the season opener. The Kia on Atlantic will be giving away tire rotations, oil changes, tires too. If you are a Kia owner and you swing by this new building, you have a chance to win a set of tires. So a ton of stuff we'll be giving away during the time frame we will be there, but obviously a ton of vehicles on the lot too. If you are looking for a new car, swing by and say hey.
Only during our show though, so poor RJ.
Yes, make sure
No, RJ's off tomorrow.
Yeah, so he can
that's
still
what I
swing
said.
by.
There we
If
go.
he needs tires, he needs to come on by.
There we go.
But yeah, we shall see. I don't know if he needs tires. All right, so let's get it to Caleb Williams. He met with reporters for the first time since the Seth Wickersham book has been announced. And of course, Seth reported that neither Caleb nor his father, Carl, wanted him to be drafted by the Bears #1 overall. Taylor, I'll obviously let you take the floor on this one.
Everybody listening, don't yell at me. This is just a hot thing happening.
We're talking about NFL quarterbacks around the league. This is just happens to be
stop
one of them.
#1. Yeah. So going back to December, January, I had reported at that time because I had talked to several people and I had heard that, which also this is relative here because the man is now in Jacksonville and Shane Waldron, but how much of a disaster it went with Waldron in Chicago. And this goes back to training camp. Players before the season even started reportedly had went to higher up and said this isn't going to work. Shane is not good. Like that we're not understanding. He doesn't know how to coach. There's just a big disconnect between us, the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running back. Like it just, nothing is really working. Nothing came of that, but obviously you're 6-7 weeks in, he ends up getting fired. You could tell the offense was just, it was a disaster. There was a lot of lack of communication, but what I ended up hearing was the worst part, which we've also had issues here, was more so the lack of coaching. And many players were vocal about this at certain points. Cole Kmet, I've heard a lot of reports from Cole Kmet, too, saying that he had similar situations going on with just the not coaching side of things. And so I reported back then that Caleb said he had called somebody and said an outside source and said, Shane's not going over film with me. Like, I know how to film study. I can do this. I've done it for a long time. But the point of a coach in the NFL is to be able to take time and sit with you and go over just the intricate things of his offense that he wants you to see and learn and understand and develop. And that was not happening. So Caleb had to go elsewhere, and he built his own film study room in his house so that he was able to kind of just do it on his own and get a coach to do that. Anyways, I reported that a while ago. This guy, Seth, who ended up writing this book, talked to Caleb's dad. Caleb's dad told him similar stories. It blew up while I was on vacation during all this time. And it was kind of funny because my Twitter went insane because it was like, Taylor's been talking about this since December. Why is this just now coming out? But anyways, Caleb addressed media yesterday, and I think he did a really good job because, number one, he didn't wait for a question to be asked about it. He came to the podium and said, I'm going to address this right now. I know this is what everybody wants to know. And so he went into detail about his time because a lot of people were upset that he said he wanted to go to Minnesota and he didn't want to be in Chicago. First of all, nobody would want to come be a quarterback in Chicago. It's been a disaster. They've ruined one after another after another. That's a known thing of how.
So that was not news breaking in Seth Wickersham's new book.
Yeah,
with the excerpt
that had
was
already
released.
been said, but all of a sudden it was like back in the world of, oh my gosh. So he had to clarify some things. Some of that was that his first visit that he did before the draft was with the Vikings. And so he met Kevin O'Connell. Who wouldn't want to go play under Kevin O'Connell? I mean, the guy's incredible. If you've watched what he's done with the development of quarterbacks throughout his career, he's one of the best at doing that. He's one of the best when it comes to offensive game planning and the things that he's been able to do. So, of course, a quarterback would want to go under there, and that's pretty much what Caleb said. But then he also went on to say the part that people are leaving out is I've been very vocal about the moment I stepped into Hallis Hall. I was like, I want to be here. Like, I want to be able to change this organization and be the person. I think I can be the quarterback to do that. So he addressed all of that yesterday. He addressed the film watching stuff. And one of the reporters, which this was the dumbest question, one of the reporters goes, does your dad speak for you? And Caleb just kind of started laughing. And he was like, no, actually, me and my dad butt heads quite a bit. Like, my dad's a good man. And he has his strong opinions about things. And sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But I'm also a grown man and I can make my own decisions. That was a weird question to me. But it was fascinating to see and hear some of the things that I was hearing throughout the season kind of be validated in the sense of he going back and just how bad things actually were. And I think that you can relate that so strongly here to when the coaching's not right, how quickly things can fall apart. And then how quickly things can go right when you have someone like a Kevin O'Connell and the way that they can function in Minnesota. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how the J.J. McCarthy side kind of goes this year. If he's able to do what he was able to do with a Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold and even Dobbs, like it's going to be a big testament to who KOC is.
He's named Coach of the Year for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And he's in the top 10 of basically every power ranking nationally that's going on right now in terms of coaches, which is hilarious because I was listening to the GM rankings that NFL Daily did, and Kwesi, they self-admitted, they were like, we kind of forgot about Kwesi Odefe Menza, who's the GM.
Yeah.
We kind of forgot about him because it's such a coach-centric model, which is a whole nother can of worms we could get into at a different time in terms of the parallels, not just between what the Jags are trying to build with the Rams, but perhaps what the Vikings have built with a coach-first-centric system.
Yeah.
Ultimately, much like Liam Coen will always be compared, I believe, to Ben Johnson, win, lose, or draw, that quarterback class, those guys are always going to be compared to each other. Yeah. And now, not only because they play in the same division, but because of those comments from Caleb Williams about how much he enjoyed his visit to the Minnesota Vikings with Kevin O'Connell, you probably have an extra magnifying glass now on the growth of J.J. McCarthy with that head coach versus Caleb Williams, where he gets the do-over with Ben Johnson, who is heralded as this great coordinator, but can he also be a great head coach while still getting the most out of the player?
Yeah, and the question here, too, we're talking about. And I was reading an article earlier that CBS Sports put out, and it was the best moves by each team this offseason, and they had the Jaguars' best move as hiring Liam Coen. But he did go on and say, you don't know if this is going to work. Like, you have a very small sample size of this guy in general calling plays and doing that part, and now you're adding the head coaching side to that. So this could be the biggest benefit or the biggest hurt of what they did this last offseason. And I think there was multiple teams, pretty much any team with a new coach, that was kind of their focus, which makes sense. But I do think it is important here because you have a quarterback who's heading into year 5 who has had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of different coaches and a lot of offensive coordinators and now new weapons. And there's a lot of things that now they've started to build around him, and he has a lot to prove. But in that same sense, we had that argument, a month ago, Lauren, of who has more to prove, Liam Coen or Trevor Lawrence. And that I think that you could, and we did, make arguments for both.
And obviously their relationship and what becomes of it on the field is going to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If Liam Cohen's calling great plays and Trevor's executing, then neither one's under any pressure. Yeah. And we all talk about how far can this team go in the playoffs? If Liam Cohen's calling great plays and Trevor isn't executing, we're not necessarily going to know that. I mean, yeah, if he's turning the ball over, sure.
Yeah.
But if it's just, the ball gets tipped or something like that at the line of scrimmage and it was a great play call, but Trevor didn't, throw the ball quickly enough, I don't know that we're going to be able to break it down like that. And if Liam's calling bad plays, but Trevor's executing, we're not going to know that Liam's calling bad plays. We're just going to say, wow, look at how, the growth of Trevor Lawrence. All right, let's get it to Will Levis. He's not sugarcoating his situation there in Nashville. Of course, the Titans drafted Cam Ward number 1 overall. He said, anyone who's ever been in my situation would agree that it sucks. I'm just trying to do the best I can to not let it affect me and be the same dude I am every day in the building and be there for the guys however I can and just trying to get better every day. That to me sounds like he is waving the flag that he doused in mayonnaise, a.k.a. a white flag.
Yeah, I mean, it's different than...
You can't say it sucks. You have to be like, I'll embrace competition. Let's go.
Yeah, he needs to be Gardner Minshew, quite frankly.
Right,
he needs to be Gardner, where he's like, I'm gonna be the starter. Like, I'm fighting every day. Yeah, I mean... It's also realistic.
Yeah.
And a lot of time has passed since 2021, by the way, when Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence had their quarterback battle to be the starter here in Jacksonville. And so I think that they're also, to the point earlier about how mental health is something we talk about more, I think we also, to the idea of authenticity, like we keep it real a lot more.
Yeah.
Both players in the face of the media, and at least we try to here on the airwaves.
And Will's taking first team reps. They're splitting first team reps. So it's not like he's been completely relegated to the backup quarterback. That's why I say you can't yet say that
they spent a first overall pick on a new quarterback. So you know what's happening in that sense most times. And I do think also.
You suck. Sorry.
Well, and I'm sure he's like, I had a year and a half. Like, you gave me a year and a half with very mediocre surroundings to try and figure out the NFL. And I'm sure that's frustrating. And we've seen it before. We've seen it with Baker Mayfield. We've seen it with Sam Darnold. We've seen it with Geno Smith, where now we have so many examples of guys being given up on too soon because and I'm not saying, I don't like Will Levis. I didn't like Will Levis in the draft, but I don't think a year and a half on a bad team with bad everything kind of happening is a really good chance to try and figure out what you actually have. So I get him being frustrated, especially it'd be different if it was like they took someone at like 18 or something like that. Then maybe you're like, okay, well, you still have a chance. If you're picking someone number 1 overall, I feel like you kind of know.
And like I said, Will Levis, yes, it sucks because you didn't, even though it was a short period of time and the weapons weren't great, but still, like, you made so many boneheaded plays that unfortunately that's
your
where
memes over, like your memes at this point. What
or better, more than
if
your
Cam
touchdowns.
starts though? Like, how quickly do they abandon that? Like, if he comes in and he has 2 touchdowns and 8 picks in the first 4 games, do you throw Will Levis back out there?
Yeah, because you're afraid you're going to ruin Cam Ward.
And you use that as an excuse, by the way, and you're given an opportunity, or at least one mulligan.
Yeah, like he needs a little bit more developing, kind of like what they did with Bryce Young in Carolina.
Yeah, I do think that the quarterback conversation in Cleveland might be the most interesting. So we'll get to that on the other side.
Yeah.
You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Knicks on 92.5 FM.
I want winners. Who really wants to win? Who's a winner? I said, who's a winner?
1010XL.
I want winners.
92.5 FM.
Winning feels good. I really like winning.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
This is Hayes Carline, and I'm so proud of my guy, Leon Searcy.
Man, I used to want to eat all the time, but just 1 month on Physician Guided Weight Loss, and I've already dropped 15 pounds.
And I lost 25. No side effects, just results.
The GLP, one curbs my cravings and keeps me feeling full. It's been easier than I expected, and I feel amazing.
Their staff is great, and best of all, no surprise costs.
If you're ready to bring sexy back this summer, visit pgweightloss.com.
Physician Guided Weight Loss, safe, doctor supervised.
And it works.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape. And you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated Five-Star Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
This summer, get ready to rock like never before. The Jacksonville Rock Orchestra brings the thunder with an electrifying night of Led Zeppelin like you've never heard it. Live at the Florida Theater, June 4th. Cashmere, Whole Lotta Love, and Stairway to Heaven reimagined with the full power of a rock orchestra. Led Zeppelin, orchestra style, only in Jacksonville. Get your tickets before they're gone at floridatheater.com.
Prosser here. It's a great time to sell your home, and I got just the people to sell it for you. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down, activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though. Hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize your hassle, that's the key. And I've been telling you who those experts are. Are you listening? I recommend Chad and Sandy Newman. Go to chadandsandy.com, the local real estate experts you can trust with the sale of your home. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. So whatever problems you think you have, I've got you this promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. There you go. Simple as that. Christopher on Anastasia Island. My home was too big for my needs. I wanted someplace smaller and easier to manage. I got multiple offers and sold in 3 days with Chad and Sandy. You can too at chadandsandy.com or 904-414-6200.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Awaken 180. Florida Panthers are headed back to the Stanley Cup Final for the third straight year after a thrilling victory in Game 5 last night. The Hurricanes dominated the first period, going up 2-0. Their physicality, however, fueled the Panthers' fire quickly, notching the game at 2 to start the second before jumping on top and controlling the rest of the game. A 5-3 victory propelled them back to the promised land, with all eyes on the Oilers vs. Star series as the Cats await their challenger. Here's forward Brad Marchand's post-game thoughts.
We got to our game. You know, we knew after the first period that we knew they were going to come out the way they did, and you know, we knew all it took was one shot to get us back in it, and we just had that belief, and yeah, it was great that we were able to pull it out.
It's 90 degrees at 12:59. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg.
I have not given a score update for Florida-Texas softball because the score has not changed. It is still Texas 1, Florida nothing. It is the bottom of the third. Florida's up to bat. But there's 2 outs. Florida's hit a lot of foul balls. Only left so far 1 runner in scoring position, but has left another runner on base. Since we were just informing Max in the break, Florida, obviously, like I said, playing Texas now. Oklahoma will play Tennessee at 2:30 today. The winner of both of those will face each other. The loser of both of those will then face each other. On the other side of the bracket, Texas Tech versus Ole Miss at 7 p.m. and then UCLA versus Oregon at 9:30 p.m. And same format for that other side, of course. The winners will face each other. The losers will face
they're
other.
double elimination?
Double elimination, yes, ma'am. But yeah, so the Women's College World Series is underway in Oklahoma City, and that ball is not going to go out. So we are to the top of the fourth. All right, back to NFL quarterbacks. That Browns quarterback situation.
This is amazing.
We're going to talk about
some of the best content on the internet. I know we led this week by saying I cannot believe that Aaron Rodgers speaking at a random event was the biggest NFL story of Memorial Day weekend.
It was.
But now here we are. And ESPN Cleveland literally out here tweeting graphics tracking the 4 quarterbacks at OTA number 1.
Also, Deshaun's not participating.
Yes.
They do still have 5.
Right. The one that has $250 million guaranteed. Yeah, no.
It's not.
He's not there.
The only thing that could possibly make this crazier is if the Browns sign Aaron Rodgers.
That would be wild. You are correct.
Or trade for Kirk Cousins, which I am not ruling out, by the way.
So Kenny Pickett, when discussing his experience in Philadelphia, said he's extremely grateful for his time in Philly. He was shown how it's supposed to be done from the top down. Where did Kenny Pickett spend time before Philadelphia?
Yeah,
Pittsburgh. He didn't mention his time in Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco, meanwhile, has reiterated that he is not looking to take a backseat and mentor the team's young passers. That would be, of course, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett's still somewhat young, too, I suppose. He would rather lead by example in an attempt to win the quarterback competition. And then, Mia, to your point, as far as social, on any given day, you will see Shedeur Sanders is the guy that's absolutely going to be the QB1 for Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel on the other day, you'll see his velocity on the footballs he's throwing is elite, and he's going to be QB1.
So do you want to hear what the tracker from ESPN Cleveland says? And folks, this is not a parody account.
No. I put it in our group chat for here yesterday because I was like, this is absolutely wild.
This is the flagship, just like we are the flagship of the Jaguars. This is the flagship of the Cleveland Browns and the Ohio State Buckeyes. They got a gold check mark next to their name. I know anyone can have a check mark these days on X, but they've got the gold one with the ESPN logo next to them. And this is what they tweeted out yesterday, or earlier this week, I should say. Joe Flacco, 9 of 14, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Shedeur Sanders, 7 of 9, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kenneth Pickett, 9 of 16, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel, 11 of 16, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I have no idea if that's in a full team period, if that's red zone, if that's 7-on-7. No idea. Technically, you can't report that, so I don't know if we will ever know. But my golly, what are we doing here? This is going to be great content through the summer. I mean, I know practice obviously won't occur, but I mean, I want to tune into Cleveland radio now. I want to hear what the very latest is.
The comments are hilarious if you scroll through the comments of that post because it's just a lot of someone. It's like a GIF saying, we talking about practice. And then Colin Cowherd just commented on it with the little shrug emoji. And then some of them, this guy's not wrong, actually. Somebody was just like, y'all mad they're tracking this, but if Shedeur's stats were trash, you guys would be all over this. I agree with that. If they would have posted this and Shedeur was 2 for 16, no touchdowns and 5 picks, people would have been like, oh, bust. But instead they're like, why are we doing this? But then everybody, it's we're keeping stats and OTAs now. LMFAO, such a Browns thing to do.
I mean, there are reporters, I would say, for all 32 NFL teams that do keep stats during
and
OTAs.
Say, this, not like this, though. The graphics made. I don't
think the Jaguars have ever tweeted out a graphic of Trevor's stats.
Yeah.
No, and
or
this
Gardner's
is
stats.
not
They might
from
not
the
want
team.
to so far.
Right.
Accurate. This is not from the team. This will be the equivalent of us tweeting out a tracker.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which being like
10-10
Joshua
XL
Cephas had 2 catches.
10-10 XL is better than
At
that.
OTA number 2.
Last NFL thing, and this is not a quarterback thing, but Nico Collins is impressed with Christian Kirk so far at Texans practices and has called him a slot magician. I feel like Christian's probably like, well, thank you for saying that I'm a magician as far as the receiver goes, but I am not solely a slot receiver.
He's like, why does everyone keep doing that to me?
Why does everyone put me in a corner? Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, I did see. So when I was talking about that article earlier on CBS where they said the most important additions to each team, and they had obviously Liam Coen here, they did put the wide receivers there because you lose Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell's hurt, and then they added Christian Kirk, obviously, and then they also added Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. And so I do think that is obviously very important. We talk about the line a lot, but also you're losing. I don't know if Stephon Diggs is as big of a deal because I don't really, it's kind of, he was hurt and how much did you actually see of him? But Tank Dell was a big part of that offense. So losing somebody like that is huge. Who can replace Tank Dell? And so I do think that kind of battle between Jaden and Jalen will be kind of interesting, but also how they use Christian Kirk, because we heard before, when the Jags made the signing of Christian Kirk, why are you paying a slot receiver that much money? Why are you playing a wide receiver 2, maybe 3, that much money, Then Christian Kirk came here and did what he did right away, kind of tinkered off a little bit, and there was injuries and things like that. But he did prove that he can stretch the field a little bit too when he needs to. So it will be fascinating to see how the Texans end up using him.
And just a reminder for those who may have missed it yesterday, CJ Stroud did not throw at yesterday's OTA for the Houston Texans, which was their first of phase 3. He did warm up, but then did not throw. And so obviously that's a situation we're also monitoring.
Wow.
For sure. Since you mentioned Stephon Diggs, I'll just go ahead and do today's Terminix Pest of the Day. Terminix is just an integral part of places like Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of their pest control. They make sure that they don't have any termites. And then they can come to your house like they did mine and take care of any mosquito issues that you have. They will spray your yard and the mosquitoes be gone. I can confirm we were outside a lot over the weekend and I did not get any mosquito bites. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. Stephon Diggs, this is an easy one. With the pink powder, no one's really sure what exactly it was when he was on the boat with all those ladies in bikinis. And you can have fun in the off season, but when it looks like you're passing out drugs to people and someone catches it on video, if you want to, I suppose, dabble in drugs, make sure that nobody's video camera, their cell phone video is on, because then that can be posted, and it was. And of course, now Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, Stephon Diggs' new coach, had to address it yesterday when he met with media and basically just said any conversations that he had with Stephon will remain between the two of them. But it's not a good look. And yes, the Patriots had to acknowledge that they're aware of the situation. The NFL hasn't commented on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL does like a little bit of an investigation to try and figure out, maybe does a pop drug test on Stephon Diggs. Yeah. Which, is that allowed at OTAs when it's voluntary? Probably.
I don't know if I would assume they're drug testing year round, if I would guess.
Yeah, I don't know about
but
the
mandatory is about to hit too.
But
so maybe then. But I was laughing very hard this morning at Dan and Jeff talking about this story because, number one, I agreed with ET in the beginning when it's like, I hate when people are like, oh, so-and-so seen here, and I'm like, they're allowed to have fun. Like, let's just they can have some drinks, they can be with their friends, they can be on a boat in the summertime. Like, that part of it annoys me. So at first I was thinking the same thing, and then when you see the rest, you're kind of like,
when you see the packets.
Yeah, and so, but Dan and Jeff were like joking about what it was, and he was like, maybe it was just pink Himalayan salt.
But pink Himalayan salt has a much different consistency, yes. So no, unless it was crushed, and then why would you be handing out salt on a boat with everybody?
They were taking tequila shots with pink Himalayan salt.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just not sure. This is not the pest of the day, but I did want to, since we mentioned it yesterday, Mia, say congratulations to Charlie Woods.
Oh yes,
he ended up holding on for the win. Yeah, I got a kick out of listening to the drill this morning. I guess Jeff once upon a time must have said that Charlie Woods will never win a junior title. I didn't know that those were predictions that we made in the sports business. But hey, listen, here for it, and Jeff owned up to it. And certainly we want to give a shout out to the locals who were a part of that tournament. And, Miles Russell is just 15 years old. He is in the same recruiting class as Charlie Woods. I wonder if this affects the standing of right now. Miles is the highest rated junior between the class of 2026 through 2028. And so I'm wondering, maybe this creates a nice little rivalry and we got a Jacksonville tie there.
Yeah, I saw that when they were talking about the rankings, he moved he was like 60 or something to 4. After this,
Really?
Charlie,
after the American Junior Golf Association win. Yeah, I've heard of Stream Song, the resort where they were playing. I didn't know it was located in Bowling Green, Florida.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
I've heard
that
of Bowling Green.
I haven't heard of Florida one.
Not Bowling Green, Florida. Yeah, interesting. All right, on the other side, let's get it to the NBA playoffs, as it were. There are 3 teams remaining, and after tonight, there will be just 2, and we will have the NBA Finals. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Apparently, I'm, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
Jeff Prosser.
We need a timeout.
Mornings on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They are your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning all under one roof. So whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they've got you covered. Certainly, you can go check out those 5-star reviews on Google, but take it from me. When my septic system acted up a few years ago, when my AC at my old house kept going out, there was one name that I called, Duck Duck Rooter, for everything. Give them a ring at 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey, it's Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter. And you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at atlanticinfinity.com.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Let PGA pros straighten your morning drive with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser on Brunch with the Tour, Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL. Teed up by Apex Roofing and Contracting and Clearwater Irrigation. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A.
Everyone seems to be in a time crunch these days. Well, don't forget you can always count on the cold case at Daly's. Always convenient, always cold. Whether it's the king of beers, Natty Light, Stella, or Cigar City, or Goose Island, or Bud Light Seltzer, dash into Daly's and grab one to go.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing firm just got its dream funding.
Okay, ideas. Bobbleheads. No. T-shirt cannon. I seriously need some help here.
He needs to find marketing managers who are worth every dollar.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsoring a job on Indeed gives it a visibility boost so you can hire faster. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair. It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coating is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
But of course, the job not done. There's only one goal for this team. That challenge will start next Thursday. Well, the magical season continues. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going back to the NBA Finals.
The winner of the Magic Johnson Trophy for the 2025 Western Conference Finals Most Valuable Player is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
That's right, RJ. That's how it sounded last night as the Timberwolves in the first half had more turnovers than made shots. I don't know if even the NBA diehards were still watching as that game came to a close because it was so incredibly lopsided. And that's why I felt a little better that my pest today was the NBA series so far between the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, because that last night was not worth watching.
RJ, is the Ant-Man hurt or what the heck happened? Was it just like it just was an avalanche and there was nothing you could do? Like I look up at one point and they're doubling him up and I'm like, you have Anthony Edwards. How is this possible? And Anthony Edwards finished with, I believe, 19 points.
I mean, I think he took the life out of him.
Okay, so you don't think it's injury related?
No, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder as a team just took the life and the heart out of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, they've been the best team all season. I mean, the best record in the NBA and as well as the Western Conference. I think after the bad taste in their mouth they got last year at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks, I think they learned from that and, are now on this, I don't want to call it like a redemption road, a redemption story. You've been the number one team in the Western Conference the last 2 years, but that's kind of the track and the trajectory I think they see themselves on right now. So they were able to learn from last year's heartbreak. Hopefully, next season, Anthony Edwards is able to learn from now back-to-back years of heartbreak, and hopefully third time's a charm. And if you're Minnesota, maybe you need to bring in another scorer for Anthony Edwards. Maybe Julius Randle just isn't the answer. I understand he had a solid year for Minnesota, but maybe that's just not the guy that Anthony Edwards needs in terms of, can he also get a bucket while I'm getting buckets as well? So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do this offseason. But I like the words in which Anthony Edwards said during the post-game press conference. I understand he said he wants to win one for Mike Conley, but just the fact that he's saying he's going to be working hard all off season to try to get back to this point is definitely something you can applaud, especially with a player like him.
Yeah, because a lot of people have said he's going to be the face of the NBA, once guys like LeBron and Steph go into retirement. It is crazy to me that SGA has a chance to become the first MVP to win the NBA Finals since Steph Curry in 2014 and 2015. And then people smarter than me were drawing the incredible similarities between the 2014-2015 Warriors and the 2024-2025 Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll run through a couple of them. OKC is attempting to become the first team to win the title with the league's #1 ranked defense since that Warriors team. Everyone remembers the Splash Brothers. I don't think anyone really focused as much on the defense and how
outside
good
of
they
Andre
were.
Iguodala.
Exactly. And Draymond, I suppose, too.
Yes. Yeah. Alex Caruso has been playing crazy good.
Exactly. And then Dort as well.
Yeah.
Alongside Curry and SGA, both teams were looking for a second All-Star to emerge. The Warriors hit on Klay Thompson with the number 11 pick in 2011. The Thunder grabbed Jalen Williams at number 12 in 2022. The Warriors' first championship lined up with Thompson's first All-Star selection in 2015. And if OKC finishes this thing off, it will also have happened the year of Williams' first All-Star selection.
That almost deserves some X-Files music. Well done. Well done on that one. Brian Windhorst meme. Now, why does that matter?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it feels to me, and certainly people who watch it much closer than I do, I just watched when the playoffs happened, it feels like the Thunder are winning regardless. No matter what happens, even if the Knicks end up winning tonight and take it farther in this Eastern Conference Finals, to me, no matter who wins, Pacers, Knicks, I still feel like the Thunder are winning easily.
I mean, they were 68-14.
Right.
They were one of the best teams in the regular season.
Of course.
And look,
but people were so focused on the Cavs regular season because they were the bigger surprise.
Well, and people also were so fixated on the Luka trade, and so thus could the Lakers sneak their way in, and the idea of the Boston Celtics going back to back. I think that those were much more dominant storylines, and that's where the argument's going to be. If it's the Knicks, I think that changes some things, but if it's Pacers Thunder, you can bet your bottom dollar if the Pacers win tonight, tomorrow morning, every national headline is not going to be, oh no, look at ticket sales dropping because no Caitlin Clark. It's going to be, oh no, the ratings are going to suffer because it's two mid-market teams.
I'm just glad my bet from 7 years ago finally made it with OKC. Who
has to pay off?
Yeah, I think Dan and Jeff, they both have to spin the wheel, I think. But RJ, when we're talking about that, because obviously I heard Primetime talking about this yesterday, and Leon and Joe were pretty much saying there's no chance for the Knicks at this point. Do you think there is a shot at all?
What's the series as it currently stands?
3-1. And also, Kat might not play tonight.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns might not play tonight. They don't know yet. So
how many games do you have to win to win the series?
I'm with RJ. I think the Knicks are done.
Yeah.
And prime time.
I mean, I'm not saying that the Knicks are
JJ
going
kind
to
of
win,
argued it, but
I mean,
they were all like,
I mean, it's at the Garden. That's the one thing I think the Knicks can cling to. And I think the fact...
Maybe if they took one at the Garden before, people would have a little more faith. But in this series, talking about.
I mean, this is a Knicks team that has been better on the road in the postseason.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think a lot of the argument comes from. But ultimately, I just can't get away, RJ, from this idea of Jalen Brunson has the heart of a champion. And the fact that nationally the conversation this morning has been, well, maybe he does have the heart of a champion. Maybe he is a top 10 player in the NBA, and he is dragging a mediocre team to the finals. We talked about it before this Eastern Conference Finals got going, RJ. You said, live on Helmets and Heels, your biggest question about New York was their depth. And outside of a Game 3, which some people may now look at as a fluke, they don't have the bench to hang with the Pacers. And if you don't have Karl Anthony Towns, well, now you're giving your front court even more of a direct blow in terms of who they can actually rotate through, especially given, I don't know, the number of fouls that Cat racks up and this team racks up in a single game.
Right. I think that this is probably more of a missed opportunity for the Knicks. I don't think you could have played this postseason, or honestly this season, any better if you were the New York Knicks. I mean, listen, Indiana's able to take out the Milwaukee Bucks. That's one team that you don't have to worry about. The Indiana Pacers also take out the Cleveland Cavaliers, who probably were the team that many were saying this is going to be the team that's going to match up with the Boston Celtics. They get taken out. Maybe the road's just a tad bit easier. The hill that you had to get over because of where you fell in the Eastern Conference bracket was going to be that of getting over the hump of defeating the defending champion Boston Celtics. You do that. I think how this story may end. And like I said, you got to win 4 games. So, I mean, we've seen this before with 3-1 comebacks. The way in which this is playing out, if they are to fail, I'm not saying that they are, but if they are to fail, I think this is a huge missed opportunity for the New York Knicks. And I mean, it's sad because, I've loved the entire story. I don't think I've seen New York that loud since maybe 2000, maybe 99 in that strike shortened year, where they're just absolutely loving what New York is doing and really believe that the New York Knicks do have a chance to win it all. Jalen Brunson is a guy who I feel is one of the top 10, maybe top 7 players in the NBA right now, but I don't think the team is mediocre. I think the team probably needs a veteran guard coming off the bench. As much as I like Sid the Sloth, campaign, I don't think he's the guy in which you need. I also like a guy such as Deuce McBride, but is he your point guard that you need to be a part of the second unit? I think once you're able to figure out who on that second unit can play, and I'm not saying you need to go 9-10 deep like the Indiana Pacers,
right?
But if you can find out who you can grab in terms of maybe another 3-and-D guy, maybe another veteran point guard, maybe another big in which you can grab. If you're going to have Mitchell Robinson, let's just say, move himself into the starting lineup, if you like that idea. I don't think that the Knicks are too far away, but when you go into a whole new season where you may have Cleveland right back in the same situation they are, Indiana's going to be confident as all get out, whether they win or lose the NBA Finals, assuming that they make it. You're also going to have teams such as the Orlando Magic who, listen, Paolo Banchero is drinking the Kool-Aid here. He thinks with all the parity that we're seeing in the NBA, they could be right in this position this time next year. So I think with a lot of Eastern Conference teams having that confidence, if you're the New York Knicks, you're definitely going to have your work cut out for you. So hopefully this summer they're able to correct some of the wrongs in which they had, and hopefully they're able to come back next season and be right back in this position. But as of right now, it's kind of sad just because I think they missed a big opportunity here.
So 2 things. Number 1, we are already having a requiem for the New York Knicks, despite tonight's Game 5 at Madison Square Garden. Good to know. Which, hey, I'm here for it.
Especially, like I said, if Cat doesn't play, I just don't think there's a chance.
I agree. But at the same time, weirder things have happened in this NBA playoffs. I thought after the injury to Jason Tatum, I was like, there is no way in hell that they're going to go up to Boston and the Celtics are actually going to win that game. And that was at home. And obviously the Celtics blew the Knicks out. So that's number 1. Number 2, I have to anecdotally share when Landry Shamet entered the game, RJ, in Game 3. Kevin literally yelled out, "Landry Shamet's still in the league?" I watched him at Wichita State play Northern Iowa in 2016. And so I was like, first round pick. Later in the first round, he's a good 3-point shooter. But that speaks to the depth of what the New York Knicks can trot out when Tom Thibodeau says, "Oh yeah, I got to go to the bench. I got to change things and throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks."
If you watch Major League Baseball, you have that happen almost every single game. Oh, that guy plays for them? Yeah. And he's still, I didn't even know he was still.
And then I'm like, how old is he? And then you go look and he's still only 34. And you're like, hold on.
How many teams has that guy played for? And then you go down that rabbit hole. It's not a rabbit hole. It's on Wikipedia. But you're like, 9 teams? For some reason, I feel like, especially because I watch the Rays the most, they have, because they don't really keep guys for the longest time and they feel like they try to find them in their right peak window. There's so many guys that leave Tampa Bay and still are playing 5 years later. And it's like, oh, I remember him. I think there's one, he's not, I don't think he plays for Major League Baseball anymore. I think he's now overseas. But G-Man Choi was that way.
I loved him, though.
I did too. And his splits at first base were awesome.
I know.
And for the short period of time, he was hitting really well. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I read that he now no longer plays in the majors. I want to say he went to maybe Japan. But either way. All right, we've got 1 second to go. Oh, I did want to mention before we went to break that the Panthers did win. You heard in Max's update in case you weren't paying attention last night. 5-3. They started down 0-2. Yeah. Down 2-0.
There was 3-3 with 8 minutes left, and then they just did what they do. I don't know. They feel the same to me as how people are talking about the Thunder. Yeah. No matter who wins, they're just too big, they're too fast, they're too strong. They can do all of it, and usually you have the finesse teams or the tough teams, and they have a combination of both, and it's just so hard to beat that.
And they're kind of a super team, right? Yeah. Because Brad Marchand used to play for the Bruins.
Yes. Yeah. He's the face licker.
Did not expect that next. But yeah, in case you didn't know, the Oilers are up 3-1 against the Stars. So most likely the Oilers will close that out. And we will have Oilers and Panthers. And now the last 6 years, there's been a team, 7 years, there's been a team from Florida.
Would be the third straight.
I think that's fantastic.
Third straight for the Panthers,
right.
too.
And the Lightning did go 3 straight, I know.
Which, and I've seen a lot of people discussing this. I know Matt Hayes even brought it up. Like, are the Panthers the most competent professional sports franchise
in Florida?
In all of professional sports right now, with the fact that they've been to 3 straight finals and no one's talking about it. I think there's an argument to be had there.
Like, more than the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd still put the Chiefs in there.
Yeah.
As the best.
I would agree.
They're definitely the most competent in Florida.
Yes, in the state of Florida that no one's
We're
talking
coming
about.
for you, Panthers.
We're talking about the
coming
Chiefs,
for
right?
you.
We're talking about the Chiefs, but we're not talking about the Panthers. Because when it comes to hockey, much like the NBA, which we discussed with the Lakers and the Celtics, we are still talking about the perennial quote unquote powers, if you may, as opposed to, man, between the Lightning and the Panthers, Florida may be the hockey capital of the world. The folks in
Everyone's
Canada
like, what?
don't want to hear that because 32 years without a title.
And people do talk about the Dodgers, and that's almost like an unfair thing.
Yeah.
Because they're a great professional organization, but they also can spend the most, so it's really not fair. Still, Texas 1, Florida nothing. So Florida's bats need to get hot, or else they're going to lose Game 1 of the Women's College World Series as we are in the bottom of the 5th. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Live play-by-play sports were made for radio.
Well, there is advertising worth the price of admission.
And 1010XL was made for you.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Where does Northeast Florida buy cars? Arlington Toyota. Why Arlington? Selection. Arlington has over 800 new and used vehicles all in one location with everyday low prices. Over 350 SUVs. One location. Over 175 trucks. One location. Over 275 cars. You guessed it. One location. And guess what? There's more on the way. And here's 60 more reasons. Arlington's 60-day exchange program. It's so simple. If you don't like your purchase, just bring it on back within 60 days and exchange it for another one. And here's even more reasons why. Like 0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2023 Toyota Corolla. You can even choose no payments till January 2026. You heard that right. No payments until January 2026 at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Now you know why you need to buy from Arlington. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
When it comes to your utility bill, JEA wants to help you use less so you can save more. We offer a variety of free programs, like efficiency and irrigation assessments that'll teach you ways to conserve energy and water around your home. Our alerts will let you know when your utility usage has reached a set amount, and our rebates can help you save when upgrading to more efficient appliances and equipment. Find even more ways to save at JEA.com.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149, plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Hey folks, Frank Frangie here reminding you the 4th annual Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic is right around the corner. We sure appreciate our friends at Dailies, always making it possible. and appreciate so many of you who have played over the years. This year, we're back at Deer Creek Country Club Monday, June 9th at 9 a.m. with tons of prizes, auction items, and an awful lot of fun. You'll even meet some of our young walk-off players. Just go to walkoffcharities.com for more information. Can't wait to see you on June 9th at the Dailies Walk-Off Charities Golf Classic.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked the homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Yo, E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch kitchen scores every time. Dig in the hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
A whole lot of news and notes to get to as we cool down on this fine Thursday, one day closer to the weekend for you Heeligans. Let's start with this. We just discussed the potential impending Stanley Cup matchup between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. A little bit of an uh-oh, if you may, ladies. I don't know if you saw this one yet. The Washington Capitals sent out an email to their season ticket holders encouraging them to renew, and they alluded to the 2025-2026 season being Alex Ovechkin's last season.
Oh no.
They have now since released a statement saying that, quote, an email was sent from an individual with the corporate sales department that mistakenly was just alluding to it.
Oh, gosh.
It's called proofreading.
Big uh-oh.
Big uh-oh. Big uh-oh. The Big 12 spring meetings are currently underway in Orlando. Did not know that those took place in the Orlando area. NCAA President Charlie Baker is in attendance, and he said one of his top priorities at the Big 12 spring meetings, expanding March Madness. That would come in 2026. Quote, that would be the goal, to try and do this for next year. We've been talking about 72 and 76. John Rothstein of CBS Sports has already posted 12 videos and 19 tweets that he's going to start a protest in Central Park because this cannot happen. They cannot expand the NCAA tournament.
I'm fine with it, personally.
Expanding it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it the way
only
it is.
watch March is when I watch college basketball. So if there's more fun games that I could watch in my bracket, I'm down for it.
And they would tell you that if they can put more games on TV and charge the TV providers a little extra cheddar so that you can watch those games, Taylor, then yes, they would agree with you.
Yeah.
And look, it's tough. I get it. I don't want to say I'm resigned to the fact that this is the world that we live in now, but ultimately that's That is the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That if you can put a game on TV,
money.
It is the most recession-proof avenue in sports media. I've said it for years. Live play-by-play, as much as local news and how we consume that, certainly how we consume podcasts and radio will change. Live sports and live play-by-play, not going anywhere. They just want more and more of it.
I guess the reason I don't like the idea of the NCAA tournament, March Madness expanding is I love even those play-in games. There's so much on the line.
But would you want more of them, though?
I would not. I like.
I'm with you.
I like the field of 64 and then, of course, 68 with the play-in games. I think that that's large enough. I don't think we've ever. The reason I think you discuss expanding is you feel like you're leaving a team that could win the championship out. And in college football, maybe some people could argue that 12 teams is enough. I think when we had 4, maybe that wasn't enough. I think personally 12 is fine. But if they want to go to 14 or 16, I understand because of the increased revenue and more teams will have their season go longer. I don't think we've ever left the NCAA men's or women's tournament
saying we need
champion
more teams.
home. Yeah, that to me is the argument, and I think we're perfectly fine with what we have.
Only Coach K has.
Yeah. To me, I just think, I don't care. I don't think that I don't think it's going to drastically, people are going to be like, oh no, there's 74 teams or whatever it ended up being. I don't think it would make that much of a difference, honestly. And when it comes to obviously who's winning the national championship, but in the world we live in now with portal and NIL and all of this thing, that gives more players in the schools that weren't possibly going to be seen in March Madness a chance to be seen. And I like that because I like giving these kids that maybe didn't get recruited by these big schools and are in these small ones to have the chance to be seen in the
they
light.
get to play in the NIT. They can be seen. By the way, Texas just has their solo home run, so it's 2-0 in the top of the 6th.
I want to put an asterisk
This is
on
terrible.
that, though, Taylor.
Terrible.
I want to put an asterisk on that, Taylor, because that's the problem. And this is something our friend Matt Hayes, who's going to join us here on XL Primetime on the airwaves in just a couple minutes, Matt has said it, and there's another thing that he also has said that I want to get to as well before we say goodbye. It won't be the mid-major teams that if they expand the field to 72 or 76. It will not be the mid-major teams. It will be more teams from the SEC, more teams from the Big 10, more teams from the Big 12. And so the question becomes, do you just say, okay, it's more games, I don't care, and certainly the folks in the desert in Las Vegas don't care because it's more games that can be gambled upon, but would you rather see an Oklahoma that, Lauren, they went, 4-14 in the SEC or something like that? Or would you rather see a team in Bradley, in the Valley, who had 2 losses in the regular season, lost in the conference tournament to a Drake team that had a top 60 net ranking. And so regardless if they won the conference tournament or not, they were going to be in the field. And so now you give that team a chance. You give that team an opportunity to cash in on participating in the NCAA tournament.
See, that's where kind of my mind is. So if it's not that, then I think that does change for some people. But I also don't know what it hurts having more game, like in general, giving more basketball games for people.
Guess because my team just won the national championship, I don't want another game added to get in their way of that potential path if that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Just because you
Which
always
they
have
could
that
do
risk.
buys and if they started doing things like that, and that would maybe start getting complicated. But
yeah.
Well, I guess you expand the first 4 to Lauren's point. And so you would make it like the, what are we going to call it? If it's not the first 4, is it the exciting 8?
Yeah, whatever it is.
The fantastic, I don't even know, like where you would alliteration-wise.
Oh, no, another home run.
Another solo shot for Texas. At least they're all solo shots, but still, this is no bueno.
Not good for the Gators. I mentioned there was one other note I wanted to get to that I know our friend Matt Hayes has been predicting, and RJ, the X-Files music is needed for this one. In addition to the Big 12 meetings going on in Orlando, of course, Matt was in Destin the last few days for the SEC meetings. Brian Kelly, in meeting with reporters, said that SEC coaches want a scheduling agreement that would see them each play one non-conference Big 10 school every season, then play 9 conference games plus 2 others.
Collusion.
What Matt has been saying for years, that these 2 teams want to be the AFC, these 2 conferences, want to be the AFC and the NFC. It's all out there. The Easter eggs and the breadcrumbs, they're there.
I would hate for college football to be down to 2 conferences and everybody else have to play in like a Division II and not even Division II, just their own separate type of football. Because you can't tell me that Florida State, Clemson, and Miami are Division II. It's just I would absolutely 100% hate that. I don't even like the idea that it feels like that the Pac-12 was pretty much dissolved overnight, even though, yes, technically they're still in existence. There's only 2 teams in that conference.
Yeah.
Like, to me, we need more of a balance of power. But obviously, all the conversations in college football right now are, how do we create a system that's more similar to before we had the transfer portal with the complete wild, wild west? Before the NIL was just absolutely anyone pay however much you want. There's no one telling you the limits of anything like that. Like, how do we get back, but still have the players in the forefront of our minds and still want to encourage them in order to graduate, get the degree, which we're not encouraging now because we're encouraging them to hop from school to school. But also, how do we make sure that the players are still as important as these college coaches, right? Because the imbalance of power was there for so long. But what we have now is a terrible system. And if you ask any single college football coach, they will tell you this system, with a lack of a system, is creating chaos. And it's impossible to continue at this rate that we're at.
Toothpaste is out of the tube.
Right. By the way, speaking of college football, great news for Mike Leach fans. Nick Murphy tweeted this out. College Football Hall of Fame will lower the win percentage in 2027 from 60% to 59.5%, which will make the former Mississippi State, Texas Tech, Washington State head coach eligible to join the Hall. Yeah, I don't know if they did that just because of Mike Leach or if they did it to include several other. I would imagine that there's a lot more than just Mike Leach.
But I think it was prompted by Mike Leach.
I certainly love, because we lost him a few years ago.
I do want to hit a couple other. We gave you the Gators 4 game times that have been announced for the fall football season. Here are some other names and notable matchups that we'll see in the first few months of the season. The Dublin game, now becoming an annual tradition across the pond in Ireland. Iowa State, Kansas State, noon ESPN, Saturday, August 23rd. I believe the Jaguars have a preseason game that day. And so that's a ranked matchup if you go by the final rankings from the 2025 season. And so that could be an exciting one.
They do. The Jaguars are at the Dolphins that night.
Yes.
At 7.
Some other ones of note. The first Thursday slate will have 3 nationally televised games. Boise State at South Florida, Buffalo at Minnesota, Nebraska versus Cincinnati in Kansas City. And then a Friday slate, Western Michigan at Michigan State on August 29th, Auburn at Baylor, Georgia Tech at Colorado. Any of those tickle your fancy, or it's just football? Okay, well,
it is football, so I'm good with that.
Maybe these will then, Lauren. Let's jump to that first Saturday of the week 1 slate, not the week 0, not the Ireland.
Yeah, the week 1 slate is completely loaded.
Yeah, Texas, Ohio State, big noon kickoff, noon, Fox. As far as the 3:30 game on ABC, that will be number 8 Alabama at Florida State. That is going to be a hot one at Doak Campbell Stadium. And then as for the nightcap, number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson, the battle of the Tigers.
Those are all fun.
Yeah. The week 1 is a really impressive, I would say, group of teams that, because they're across conferences, give us stuff that we don't normally. I mean, the last 10 years we have, but because the neutral site kickoff games, you make so much more money than just hosting a team. So I'm honestly surprised that Florida State Alabama isn't in a different, like a neutral location. I know, I want to say maybe 2017 they did kickoff. Yeah, that's right, in Atlanta. And so Atlanta, I feel like, was the first city to kind of start hosting these, and now they're much more popular. But now
is their stadium done, by the way? Because weren't they like renovated?
Yes. So Doak Campbell is finished.
I think it has to. Yeah, it has to be done, or at least be nearing completion of those renovations. Speaking of Atlanta hosting neutral site games, Lauren, 2 games on Sunday of Labor Day weekend this year. I really like that. Virginia Tech at number 13 South Carolina. That game will be in the ATL. That's at 3:30, and then at 7:30 Taylor, the Fighting Irish at Miami.
Yeah, I want to go to that so badly. It would be so fun.
That would be fun, and that's the Labor Day weekend, so we have Monday off. Speaking of softball,
might not make it back.
I was going to say, and also before we get to softball, I would be remiss if I didn't mention we do have a Monday Labor Day game.
We do.
The debut of Bill Belichick at North Carolina when they host TCU. 8 o'clock, September 1st.
We're about to have football every day of the week eventually.
It does feel like that. Speaking of softball, a player we've talked about on this show a lot, Allison Benning was awarded the D1 Mid-Major Player of the Year after 19 home runs this season and 25 wins. So, yes, she was a pitcher and a really good hitter this past season. And then for the second time in program history, our friend of the program, Smilla Colby, was awarded the ASUN Sports Most Outstanding Women's Track Performer of the Year. She will run tonight in the 800 meters alongside UNF's Ella Chandler. That was slated to begin around 7:50. But ladies, I don't know if you were paying attention to the NCAA East Region Track and Field meet yesterday, But because of that weather that rolled in, we thought it was bad because we lost power for about an hour at our house. They had a 5-hour weather delay at the
Where
track
is
and
it
field
at?
meet at UNF.
Oh,
at
oh
Hodges
my goodness.
Stadium.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I was paying close attention because I knew Hayes
I feel
and
like
Hacker.
I barely got rain.
Oh, really? Hayes and Hacker were broadcasting the Frangie Show live from Hodges Stadium, and I wanted to go for a walk, and it was around 5:30 when their last segment was about to begin, and I looked outside and I heard thunder, and I was like, I hope that their show is going to finish properly, which it did, thankfully. But right after that, the weather rolled in, and they had a 5-hour weather delay.
Yeah, I saw young Jake. He didn't get home until late since he was doing photos for a couple different schools that were out there. And yes, we were very glad. The production crew, too, for the Frangie Show featuring Hacker yesterday, because Max told me it was a quick pick. It was a quick little, let's put everything together.
Pack
and
it up and
get in the car.
Home. All right, time for us to pack it up and head on home.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Boy, am I glad to see you, Matt Hayes. Not just because
right.
you're back from Destin, but because I said Matt Hayes will be joining us here momentarily. And so that would have been awkward. No offense to Joe. And well, Leon's not even here today, right?
Leon's not, no.
Okay, so it's been awkward. Sorry, Joe. But glad that you're back from Destin. Safe travels.
Safe travels. Drove home late last night. Yep, all good.
Okay.
All
What do
good.
you
Drove
make
home
of
with my boy right next to me?
He did make the trip.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it. Man.
Did you
He's
take him to the
he's
beach?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the best dog ever. Like 10 hours of meetings, he just hangs out there, man.
That's awesome.
And as soon as I open the door, same place. he
Move
likes to stay.
over Herb Street's Golden Retrievers. We've got our own dog here at
Yeah, but
1010XL.
he's a black lab though, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, your dog is like, oh, the beach. That's where I live, and now I get to go to the beach
beach
again.
again. Yeah,
Right.
more
Right.
beach.
We traveled 6 hours for another beach. Matt, I laughed so hard watching the video of Lane Kiffin and Paul Feinbaum going back and forth
good, right?
from SEC meetings. Yes. Feinbaum is, he's just his old steady self, pretty monotone, and Kiffin was just giving him barbs one after the other.
Lane is really, he's really become a different person in the last like 2 or 3 years at Oxford. Like he's happy there. He's happy there. His kids are there. He's in a very good situation right now. He's getting paid $10 million a year. He's got
that
a team.
helps.
Yeah, he's got a team that can get to the college football playoff.
I've heard the Grove is very nice.
The Grove. I mean, Oxford's a really nice college town. He's a different person. He's changed. I told him that the other day. He's a different guy,
So
which is cool. It's really cool, actually.
the reason that I alluded you would join us for Crosstalk, and then of course we'll be taking over from 2 to 4 here on the Superstation. Brian Kelly hinting at the SEC coaches wanting to make it a requirement, not just 9 conference games, but that one of the 3 non-conference games would be in alignment with the Big Ten, something you've been saying for months, years now, that they're putting it all out there for us. You just have to read the tea leaves.
Yeah, and so I reported that back in October that they were working on that schedule agreement. They still are, but it's, I had a Big Ten official tell me in December that it's may not be till like the 2029, 2030, 31, somewhere there. But in this day and age of college football and college sports in general, what is like cement one day is very malleable the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So if they could make it work, I think they definitely will do it. Brian's he's one of like a few that want 9 conference games and a game against the Big Ten. There are others, the majority I think still want 8. If they're going to do the Big Ten, they want 8 and 1 against the Big Ten, or just 9 SEC games. But they all want to play the Big Ten. So I think it's going to be either 8 and 1 Big Ten or 9 and 1 Big Ten. And then you'll see what happens after that. There could be like a compromise where it's, not everybody has to play a game against a Big Ten team.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go 9 and then not everybody's going to be part of that challenge or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they all want to play a Big Ten team. It's just a matter of how they can get it done.
Brian Kelly wants to play 9 SEC and 1 Big
SEC
Ten.
and 1 Big Ten, correct. But the thing is he doesn't have that
He can't even
natural
win the
rival.
big games.
Right. He doesn't have that natural rival that Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, who's the other one? Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
He doesn't have, and there's 4 in the Big Ten that also have the natural rivals. So you're talking about those 8 teams could possibly be playing 8 of their 12 games against power conference teams. So that's a lot to ask. Although Florida has said they'd do it. Georgia said they'd do it. South Carolina doesn't want to do it. I don't think Kentucky wants to do it. I would imagine that's probably why USC is trying to pull away from Notre Dame, because if the idea is you're playing 9 conference games in the Big Ten and one of them could be against the SEC, they don't want to play 11 of the 12.
Yeah.
I just feel like teams like a Long Island, for instance, that Florida starts with, if we're scheduling more and more conference games and then games against the other leagues, then at some point those games those cupcakes, so to speak, are not going to get scheduled. And the ecosystem of those types of teams won't be able to survive.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt it's a trickle-down effect. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, quite frankly, Florida shouldn't be playing Long Island. It's as simple as that. I mean, these teams shouldn't be playing Charleston Southern and Furman, and you shouldn't be doing that.
Come on, they want to boost that
and
record.
I get it.
Come on, give the fans something to cheer about.
I get it. It's very good. To your point, it's very good for those programs because they get that influx of cash.
Right. Yeah.
But, I mean, come on. That's terrible. It's terrible football. It's terrible that fans have to pay $60, $70, $80, $100 a ticket to go see that game. And have to pay, $8 for a small Coke. And have to pay, $15 for a piece of pizza or whatever.
But I'd hate for the program at a Long Island to dissipate because they're not able to afford. We've seen that happen with other programs. Yeah. All right, Matt, we got to let you go.
All right.
We will be tuning into XL Primetime and listening to all things football as Matt comes back from Destin. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These deals are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow live on location. Don't go anywhere, though. XL Prime.